Episode 100.
Woo!
We did it. Well, not of the podcast, just of the show. We're on like 84, 86 or something.
So
But
I shouldn't clap.
still,
Yeah.
well, it's still a milestone of some kind.
Woo! Okay,
Episode
anyway.
100.
Yeah.
We have to change the thumbnail now.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a little bit of a bitch to do, but it's fine.
It's fine.
This is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Stones of Blood, Season 16, Serial 3. We're continuing the Key to Time.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least you won't have to
continuing
change
find
the
more
thumbnail
pieces.
for another 900 episodes. So.
True, and I mean, there aren't 1,000 episodes, so this is the final state it'll be in.
There could be. It's still going.
But, well, not by the time we get to them, because that's impossible. Anyway, the Stones of Blood,
Mm-hmm.
what's it about, dear?
Okay, well, mostly blood and stones, but let me elaborate on that because we see a tiny TARDIS. It's spinning on the set before we zoom into it because it was a miniature and we're actually going to the set and we see them putting the pieces of time together. And they really need to find
As
a
they
third
do.
piece. So where is it, first off? So let's go find out where it is. We see a Stonehenge, but it's also a cult. So it's a sacrificial bad Stonehenge. It's an evil Stonehenge. Okay. And then
Finally.
finally, honestly, been waiting for this for so long.
Finally, some cult representation.
Finally, legitimately, I mean, we'll get to that when we're talking about what kind of cult it is. They put some blood on a rock and everyone gets excited about it, even the rock, and it pulses and changes color. And then they ask the Great One to come because that time is near. Romana has a new outfit with a hat and stilettos, and the director has a foot fetish for some reason. I don't know. It's a whole fucking thing. But then they get a message about saying, like, beware the Black Guardian, so now Romana knows about it. The Doctor reveals literally everything about the Light Guardian, White, etc. And Romana, please, it's really important, just listen. The key apparently stops everything so White can restore all balance, and that doesn't seem... we'll figure it out. Romana's like, you know what, okay, fine. We're here, by the way. K9 comes in, but he's like, no, you have to stay again. So, weird. That's very strange that there's indentations in the dirt around the TARDIS, and it looks like something that was moved and it weighed a whole lot, but there's no elephants in England. So it couldn't have been that. Oh, look, Stonehenge over there, but it's the evil sacrificing one, so we should go look at it. But is one of the stones a segment? There's no beeps. No, but there's an old lady here now to talk to. She thinks he's a professor that she's met before, and she's also a professor, and she keeps rambling on about various professors that she's met and all the surveys that have happened here. There should be 9 stones, and there's also this weird blood stain over here. Don't worry about that. And then another woman shows up who used to be a Girl Scout, and she has a pantsuit on, and we're just going to call her Pantsuit because... that's her name. That's her name. Anyway, there should be 9 stones, and that's very confusing. Anyway, there's British druidy people that have a whole bunch of mistletoe parties here, but we have nothing to do with them, and they live over there. Also, there's this guy that leads the parties over the hill, and the Doctor's like, I'm gonna go over there. And Romana, stay here, watch them. Something is weird. And they make a tee-hee, he's a man joke, and we see a big old crow, and Romana's like, for no reason at all, that bird looks evil. Don't know why. I'm getting the feeling...
Mr. Electric, send that bird to the principal's office right this instant!
He destroyed my dream turtle!
I did not!
God damn it. Cut to the cult. Burning some stuff and being druids and talking to ravens. The Doctor is making his way to ring the doorbell, but the druids think he is the honored one, and he's like, oh, he's here. And the Doctor just walks in without, being, let in, and then we're introduced to a guy that I just called Fleece, but I also called him the bald one for a while. Apparently one of the stones fell on a dude and killed him once, so we should be careful. Back at the stones, Romana is like, those birds are being really weird, but it's time to leave for all the other ladies. And she's like, I don't want to go because the Doctor needs to know where I am. She's like, okay, fine. And they leave. And she pulls out the stick again, and it's not working. But when the ladies leave, so do the birds. And that's weird. The Doctor mentions he's looking for something. And they exchange some questions about druids. And he literally just shits on druids for a while, saying they're really bad and stink. And they're just hippies. And the bald dude is like, what the fuck, dude? And then he mentions that the goddess that they pray to is the goddess of death / war / magic. And also ravens are her thing. So she's kind of Athena, but not really. And then we also are going to show the Doctor this insane outfit of a bird lady while we knock him the fuck out. To Bedad, the Doctor has apparently screamed or something, because somehow from very, very far away, Romana hears him basically going, Romana! For some reason. And she's like, that's confusing. So she comes up to this cliff, and I still can't figure out if it's the ocean or a river. And she's like, oh, that doesn't, And she turns around, and she's like, I don't know where the Doctor is. And then she goes, gasp, and is falling off the cliff. She's dead.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
Goodbye, Romana.
Yep.
So, Stones of Blood,
Mm-hmm.
also known as the Nine Maidens, or the Stones of Time.
Yep.
The script is based around this sort of notion of stone circles, a number of which were dotted around the British Isles. Some of them dated back as far as Neolithic period, and a great body of mythology has sprung up around them. David Fisher was inspired by these legends, such as tales of stones called cycloliths, leaving a circle to travel back and forth across the countryside, as well as a belief that the number of stones in some circles varies upon the observer. Sort of that sort of thing of like, I see 9, I see 8, I don't see anything at all. There are no stones at all. Ooh, scary.
Mm-hmm.
Plus also, like, this kind of came about of sort of a druid revival around this time.
Mm-hmm.
Just before the sort of new age hippies came along and ruined everything.
I mean, to be fair, my favorite kind of cults are druids, I'll be honest.
Yeah, like, the druids essentially turned into hippies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the hippies came along and then all the druids were like, hang on a second.
These
guys are onto something.
Did I ever tell you that I was Wiccan as a kid?
No, but that makes complete sense.
So, like, actual druidic things that, like, get things right make me go, like, very excited. So.
I remember reading a book about that as a kid.
Ooh.
I remember my sister was really into a series of books called Wicca, I think, that were like, this was like pre-Twilight, so it wasn't, absolute garbage.
Yeah, of course.
Trying to ape off Twilight. I believe it was like, kind of similar though. It was more like trying to base off Harry Potter, but it was like Harry Potter, but for girls.
Yeah. I remember I specifically emptied out one of the drawers in my dresser, drew a pentagram in there, and like put like all the little magic-y symbols that I had to for a what is it? Basically a shrine, and I just kind of covered it up with my clothes when I wasn't using it. So that was the thing.
You had to curse your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never did, but anyway.
Sure.
I really should have.
But yeah, they sort of they sort of based along that, and also with Stonehenge itself, sort of trying to figure out more how these people built Stonehenge to begin with. Sort of like more measuring equipment was more accurate to sort of figure out more precisely what Stonehenge is and how it was created by people so long ago. So it's like sort of a fascination around it.
It's a calendar in reality, isn't it?
I believe that's the strongest theory, if I remember right. I believe the strongest theory is that it is a calendar of some sort.
Yeah.
It is like a gathering site for a calendar of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also, along with it, there's a lot to do with this. Beatrix Lehman, who plays the Professor Rumford, she initially only wanted to join because she was curious about K9 and was interested in the K9 prop and wanted to know how it was made. So that's why she took the role. And while she was on the role, she couldn't, really. She wanted to be able to document her time on the show with the prop because it's a fun, exciting thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So while she did it, John Leeson, who played K9, because he was working with the prop, because he was working with a prop, he didn't have to really be on set sort of all the time. He just had to sit basically in a van to get ready to shout, his lines out at people. And he, so when he would basically be in his off time while everyone else is acting on set, he would basically take photos for her, and as a reward, I guess a thanks.
Yeah.
She actually gave him a camera to say thank you for it. So it's like, oh, you get paid for the job and you get a camera. But, doing shit in your off time. So good for him for getting it. Get that bread.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of that. What happened in the next part, dear?
Well, Romana has apparently caught herself on the side of the cliff, but can't pull herself up at all. Meanwhile, the doctor is about to be sacrificed by the druids, but one lady's like, no, I don't want to sacrifice a human. But Bald Dude is like, seriously, we should all do this because that's what the goddess wants. And then the doctor wakes up and he's like, is that knife sterilized? Because you really should be using a sterilized knife. And the doctor sees the old lady with the bike and she's like, there's an old lady with a bike over there. And they're like, shut up, you're lying. And like, no, really, there's an old lady with a bike over there. And she comes up chasing all the druids away and saves them in the end. And she came back to give Romana some tea because she was waiting there for the doctor. But like, wait, if Romana's not with you, then where is she? But then they find her shoes, and that's weird. And she's like, man, if only we had a bloodhound. And he's like, canine. So we meet Canine halfway, and he finds Romana, and for some reason she thinks the doctor is the one that pushed her over the edge. But we help her up, and now she's okay, and she has this internal fight about how the doctor pushed her, but not really. But the key can be used to change how people or things or objects look, so she really has no reason to be that upset, but it's still frustrating for her. Old lady and the professor are like vibing out by the rocks, and also the tracker is now reading that the key is there. So the doctor's like, and Pantsuit Lady is kind of confused why Romana is alive in the background, and it's extremely fucking obvious. Like, it's actually very obvious. So we start to talk to the old lady and ask her to take Romana back to the house. Also, we should go talk to Fleece. Back at the druids, the ravens are gone, so the goddess is obviously furious. Also, there's a giant flashing fucking thing outside the window going to kill them all. Canine, on the way with the doctor to go talk to them, is like, there are unidentified aliens in there. So they both run in, and they find that the door is smashed, and everyone is literally dead. Like, actually dead bodies on screen. And apparently, it is all clear now from the alien. Wait, there's an alien! And Canine, like, fights it off and attacks the doctor and knocks him out, and Canine lasers it, and it's a fight off screen. It was a rock, by the way. Romana is working on all the research that the old lady wrote, etc., etc. They talk about travelers, they talk about future and predictions, and they're like, this area was always owned by a woman. That's weird. And then Pantsuit Lady says the quiet part out loud about how women covenants take care of the circles. And that it shouldn't be looked into. So let's look at those other papers of this place at the druid place. And Pantsuit Lady, why don't you stay here? So Romana has now found the entire broken down house of dead bodies and stuff and dying Canine. This show fucking sucks. They literally even consider putting Canine down. This show sucks.
Well, the doctor says it's an option, but then Romana's like, no, I refuse to give up on him.
I hate that they consider it. Anyway. Romana is given Canine and sent to the TARDIS to save him because apparently she possibly can. The doctor's gonna look for bodies because apparently these creatures live on blood. Cut to the weird druid group using blood for the dead bodies in her creepy raven outfit, feeding the rocks. The crow also has a lady voice and tells the rock to do her bidding, so obviously we have so many clues about who it is now. Also, the doctor has found a secret passage in the wall of the old druid house, so they go in there. Romana is helping out Canine, puts plugs in his butt, it goes, and she leaves the TARDIS to find ravens on top of it. So there's that. Then the doctor has found a whole bunch of the old paintings that were taken down off the wall, and that's weird. They all look like the same lady. Romana has run all the way to the stone circle, but Pantsuit is in a weird feather outfit and has shown up. And to which she just uses a rod magic thing on Romana and makes her, like, disappear. We don't know where she went. She's dead, probably.
She's dead. It's fine. I mean, it's not, because if that's the way Romana died, I'd be very upset. But in the original script, at the end of part 1, where Romana falls off the cliff, it was initially meant to be that the Doctor pushes her off, and the Doctor was meant to be seen pushing her off, but Tom Baker refused to perform it, saying that it would upset young viewers to see the Doctor, quote-unquote, behaving in this manner, and added that the idea of a possessed Doctor had been done to death. So as a compromise, he agreed to let his voice be used to call Romana towards the cliff, which is why you never see him push her. I kind of agree, that probably would have been traumatizing to young children, because, like, you don't want to confuse kids of being like, no, but that wasn't really him. It's like, it doesn't matter. If they think it's him, that's all that really matters. But, yes. So, that's why that sort of cliffhanger, well, pun intended, cliffhanger, is a little bit odd. Also, the location used for the DeVries house was actually a business college. And so, as a prank during location filming, when they were off filming, the cliff edge and everything, some of the students removed the TARDIS pop and relocated it to a nearby quarry. So it's just like, by the time they came back, it's just like the TARDIS was just fucking gone. I guess Deer is dead.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm here. I'm alive.
I mean,
I'm here. I'm alive. What's up?
The exteriors of this era were also filmed in videotape rather than filmed. I don't know if you noticed. It's something that only occurred rarely before in 1986. Most of the time they would use actual film to record outside. The director made the decision only to use only one medium because he hated the discontinuity created by using like a film to film outside and then video to film inside. It was always jarring to go between the two. Also, the fact that exteriors taking place at night were actually shot in a studio made it kind of necessary as well. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be super obvious that, they aren't, filming in the same location. But, that's what it is, unfortunately. What happens in the next part, dude?
Well, I mean, everybody's dead, obviously. Obviously.
Well, everyone's
anyway,
dead.
Back at the Doctor, apparently all the paintings look like Pantsuit Lady. She's been alive forever, I guess. She's been around for more than 150 years, but the Doctor thinks that she is the goddess, so to speak. But a rock is here, and they need to run away really fast to get away from it. Old Lady has her beaten stick, and she wants to track the rock back to its lair, but then they get cornered at the edge of where Romana fell off, I guess, and they matador the rock off the side, and it's dead, I guess. It's dead. The Doctor wanders back to bad Stonehenge, and they see Pantsuit being magical and shit with a force field around her, and it kind of tases the Doctor. But you should count the stones, you should notice something, and beware it, 3 are missing, and she poofs away. And then, so we'll meet back at the house at some point and make something, because the old lady's upset, and because they have to figure out what to do, and where Romana is, and get away from the stones, because they eat blood. So we do have the crystals because it was what probably powered the wand that she used. And by the way, K9 is back, but he hasn't fully recovered yet. They talk about science shit for a while, blah, 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 light speed. Blah, blah. The lady asks if the Doctor's from outer space, and he says no, it's more of a time thing, and she's just like, okay. Romana and Pantsuit are in hyperspace, so we need to be really careful about all this so we can return to back where we came from. So while the Doctor is gone, K9 will have a force field up, so switch on the machine for a couple seconds every half hour, and maybe I'll come back at some point. Maybe. We'll figure it out. But something has gone wrong with the circuits, and we need to fix it. But the rocks are headed this way, so we need to hurry. But this time the gun works, the force field is up for K9, and the Doctor is poofed into a ship, basically, which is, I guess, inside hyperspace. Cut to us seeing Pantsuit Lady watching Romana in her jail cell through a window. There's a lot of dead bodies in all the rooms, which is not great. But the Doctor has found Romana, and we free her, but she doesn't believe she's in hyperspace. The ship is above the stone circle, apparently, in hyperspace. But if it has plenty of fuel and doesn't need repairs, why is it here? The old lady is trying to get the doctor back, but no one comes through, and that kind of sucks. But the rocks are now headed off because they have no power left. And they basically go find some campers and kill them and eat them. They just had sex, so they just have some sex blood. Anyway, the doctor has found a weird door with a different seal, so they open that, and out comes this invisible lighty thing that they can't really recognize. It's apparently called the Megara, and it's a Wii, and it's a justice machine, judge, jury, executioner. And apparently no one should remove seals without authorization by penalty of death, so the doctor is going to be executed. While they talk about all this, the doctor just leaves, and the Megara are like, no one can escape us, and they follow. And the old lady is ready to turn on the gun again, but only Pantsuit shows up this time, and she destroys the gun that brings the doctor back, and then she goes, ha ha ha, and poofs away. And she's poofed back to the ship with the rocks, and now the doctor is trapped in the ship, I guess. So, yeah.
That's it.
Yep. He's stuck in hyperspace forever.
Dead, sentenced to death, stuck in hyperspace. Fun fact, the Megara were originally meant to be floating metal orbs, but it was changed to floating lights because it was deemed too similar to specifically the Jedi training orb in Star Wars. If you remember the one that Luke trains with in A New Hope, the one that goes...
Yes, I know.
So they changed it. They were like, fuck it, we can't do that. Star Wars only came out like a year ago. We can't do this. Which, you know, that's how it went. Also, the Ogre were initially meant to be rocky-skinned humanoids who looked like regular stones only when stationary. But to save costs, the director elected to have the Ogre appear as large blocks throughout. Although elements of the original idea, such as a large footprint found by the Doctor and Romana in the beginning, remained in the script still. Don't know how it happened, but sure. And the scene where the Ogre absorbed the blood of two campers was inserted at the last minute to dispel any comedic notion that the Ogre might kill by falling on people and crushing them to death. They're like, we should probably explain how they kill, because otherwise people are just going to assume that they squash them when that's not it at all.
What else is the rock gonna do?
Suck.
Yeah.
Suck.
Yep.
It's you know, suck.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. I will say also, not only is this the 100th episode, it technically also episode 4 aired during the 15th anniversary of Doctor Who. And initially there was a plan to sort of make it a celebration of the Doctor's 751st birthday, sort of continuing the running joke that the Doctor doesn't keep track of his own age, that sort of thing. The fridge on board the TARDIS was to contain a birthday cake, and Romana's present to the Doctor was a new scarf, identical to the old one. Graham Williams came down hard on it, though, and was like, that would be incredibly lame, and not in the fun kind of lame, it would just be bad. It was like, we're not doing that. But the scarf pattern was still licensed for sale in America, so they still sold it. And they had already had the cake ordered, so all the cast and crew just ate the cake on set instead.
Yep.
Which, you know, that's at least they all got some type of cake.
I mean, you can't let it go to waste.
True. Also, initially, a Sea Devil was supposed to be on board the Megara ship instead of the funny-looking android that's next to Romana. Which, it makes sense that they changed it to an android, because if it was a Sea Devil, it kind of wouldn't make sense, unless it's like, oh, she brought the Sea Devil on there to torture it? And it's like, why?
Yeah.
What did the Sea Devil do to you? Anyway, also, the episode itself has a lot of lesbian undertones.
No!
Because a simple shorthand for a lesbian tends to be, through film and such, is...
a witch.
If a witch isn't an old hag, she's basically a lesbian. That's how it goes a lot of the time. If anyone doubts the precise relationship between Vivian and Amelia, the salty comments about truncheons and sausage sandwiches might give one pause. Then the names about Vivian's earlier names are kind of a dead giveaway, of Mrs. Trefusis, suggesting Violet Trefusis, Virginia Woolf's sapphic squeeze, Senora Camara, and, you know, the Doctor even comments, like, was there ever even a Senor Camara, and a Mother Superior. Then we see that Vivian is sort of man-hating and immediately disregards all men, is immediately taken aback with Romana and offers her a ride on a bike, which Vivian suggests, quote, will be a whole new experience for you. Since Violet Trefisis's diaries had just been published around this time, it's kind of hard to avoid the material in the press. So it's like, this isn't an accidental sort of inclusion. This is intentional. Vivian is very much meant to be sort of a lesbian, and not the sort of like, oh my god, gay people are evil, but the sort of like, like, because if that were the case, it would be more overtly stereotypical, whereas it's kind of...
It's more like just druids and shit are gay. It's kind of more that.
It's more to do with the fact that, like, a lot of magic stuff does tend to gravitate towards the queer people of the universe. Even though, you know, she is a villain in the end, but, you know, her sexuality isn't what makes her a villain. But also, they kind of play up the sort of the Doctor's asexuality in this. Sort of like, sort of a lot of jokes perpetuated by Tom Baker about, you know, the Doctor and Romana. Sort of the Doctor acting oblivious to being in close quarters with Romana. Sort of not being like, you know, hubba hubba awooga around her. Because, you know, he doesn't really... The Doctor is very much asexual.
Until later,
He's not a sexual person. Until later, when, you know, the 2000s came along and they decided to do it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it kind of makes sense that we'll get to it. Anyway, what happens to you?
Well, the Megara are ready to execute the Doctor, but he objects and he wants to defend himself instead. But that's not allowed, so he's like, all right, appeal. And then he's like, okay, sure. Romana tries to mention that pantsuit is why all of them are there, so they need to make them remember that. It's a whole legal thing, and his death is pushed back by 2 hours for the appeal. K9 is feeling better, but he can't really move, so he's going to instruct the old lady on how to repair the gun. So now it's appeal time. The Doctor pulls out a wig, calls Romana as a witness, and they laser her brain and go, if you lie, we're going to know. And she's like, okay. And she just explains everything again, and they're like, okay, she was not lying. Now let's call Pantsuit, but she's being pissy and tries to call her rocks, and they literally just like go, fuck that, and disintegrate them. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll come up now. And Romana is going to try to head back to Pants' house to find proof of who she is, because the Megara were, of course, probably here. Yeah, it's Pants' house. Because
that's where the pants live.
Yes. God damn it! I looked away because I was laughing. Because the Megara, of course, were probably there for her originally. Romana was almost killed by a rock, but the old lady has used the gun in just the right moment, so she's okay. The Doctor is arguing again for the truth ray on Pants Lady, but she's like, why? I wasn't even there. And then Pants is like, okay, you know what? Put it on me. Ask me if I open the seal. And so they do, and they ask her if she broke the seal. She says no, and they're like, all right, that's true. But if the rocks are so perfect... If the robots are so perfect, then ask her what her fucking name is, goddammit, because this is not helping me at all in my case. But they refuse to because it doesn't have anything to do with the situation. But at least they have to agree on a painless death. So the one that's acting as his lawyer goes to talk to the other one and be like, I'm going to make sure your death is painless. So the Doctor calls another witness, the Megara themselves. Apparently, Romana finds out that Pantsuit was allergic to citrus. So wait, why don't the rocks attack her? It's because she's not human! Pug bones! So they agree to have her take the stand and answer questions about how they got here. By the way, Romana and Old Lady are here now, and so is the rock, so let's run away from it. Also, if you remove the Great Seals, which has all of the powers of time, the timepiece, for some reason, they have no ability to identify her because all the officers are dead. So, there's that.
Yep.
So they have no idea what she looks like, but they know they need her. The judges are like, okay, we should just kill you then. So Romana heads back with proof that she's an alien, while K9 defends. But while being executed, the Doctor shakes Pantsuit's hand, causing them both to fall over, stopping the execution. And they're like, why the fuck did you do that? You know we can't hurt her because she's not being executed. And he's like, oh my god, is she okay? Check her memory cells for brain damage. And they're like, okay, let's do that. Oh.
Wait a second.
Yes. They're like, all right.
I'm starting to think she's not a country woman at all.
They're like, okay, I guess she's the lady we needed. And so they turn her into a rock because she's going to be imprisoned for 1,500 years. But having the time seal basically means perpetual imprisonment, so she's kind of fucked. Everyone comes back down to Earth at the same time. She has her necklace taken by the Doctor, turned into a stone, but now we have to worry about the Doctor's execution. So he just goes, you know what, go back to your ship with the time key piece thing. And they do, and they're sent back to their home planet. And he's like, all right, bye. And just kind of gets out of it. Old lady, don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Old lady is excited about having new things to study as long as she keeps within reason, and all of her co-workers don't think she's crazy. But then they go into the TARDIS and shoosh off, and we change the necklace back into a piece and stick them all together. And
Yeah. Everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
She's a stone.
We have the timepiece.
The Megara have gone back to their home planet.
Mm-hmm.
We have the timepiece. The Doctor doesn't know how to put a puzzle together.
Yep.
And we're adventuring on
Woo.
into the next location. Will it have a piece? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you. Maybe I will. No, I won't. The stone's a bod, dear.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Like a 7. There's a lot of expositional science bullshit that either I don't understand what they're saying, and it's probably all scientifically correct, but it's just going in one ear and out the other, and it all just becomes noise, and I fucking hate when that happens. And then it happens again in the last episode as legal jargon, that they're just like, blah, 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 pure, da, 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 and I'm like, sure. So it could have been higher because I did actually enjoy it somewhat, but that shit just turns me off every time when it's I know it comes off that I'm just stupid and I don't know more, not, I don't want to say higher class, upper college level intricacies of things of science and math and stuff, but
well, okay,
I'm the average Joe. Go fuck yourself.
Well, here's the thing. It's not a case of you're dumb, because that's not the thing at all. Because a lot of the science that they say isn't stuff that kids will know.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the science jargon is sort of the way it's sort of presented is something like, "Hey, I will use the MacGuffin to turn it clockwise, and that'll make the second MacGuffin do the thing for me." And it's it's less I don't know this physics concept, and more about, okay, that's the thing they're doing to make this MacGuffin do this thing. Okay.
But the thing with Doctor Who though is they add 20 different details to that. So it's, I'm gonna take this MacGuffin and do this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, this, in order to defeat that. And it's you could have just said...
and a lot of the time the Fourth Doctor will do that to be clever.
Yeah.
To confuse people, to be I'm very clever, and it's oh, I guess you must be, because I have no clue what you just fucking said.
Yeah.
And they bring that up quite a few times. They'll be I don't know what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And you're don't worry, I said something really clever.
Yeah. But for me, as a watcher, I just don't... It just turns me off completely to a show or a movie or something. I'm just I don't fucking care. Just say you're gonna go do the thing and then move on.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that's basically what that is. A lot of the physics stuff that they did in this were actually jokes about when they were building the machine to open the door to the ship. The Doctor was joking about Einstein and joking about
the theory of relativity.
talking about we have to do this thing to do this thing, and I was talking with my friend Einstein about time travel is actually theoretically possible, but he couldn't get it through his skull, so he came up with his ideas, and this is how this thing works. And she goes, "Oh, okay, I get it now." And he goes, "Good, maybe you can explain it to me then, because I don't understand it." Because it's all theoretical, and it's all, that was the joke. The joke was, it's so complex and so theoretical and not meant to happen, that it's even he doesn't fully think it'll work or understand if it'll work.
Yeah.
But that's what a lot of that is. But I understand it as well, because it can be annoying if it's, especially if the episode is fully it. Like, the legal jargon I felt could have been handled a bit better. Like, they could have hammered it home as a joke about the fact that he keeps saying objection and like keeps trying to make his case, and they keep being like, no. Like, they could have made that more comedic rather than, you know,
actual legal jargon
in a way. Yeah, which, you know, they get to it in the end, but it feels like it's like, yeah, you could have done this a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the Stones of Blood.
Yeah.
I always forget how much I actually like this episode. It's probably one of my favorites in the Key to Time. I love most of the Key to Time ones. There's only one episode that I'm like, I'm not really a big fan of this one.
I mean, I would rewatch but it does annoy me, which is why it's at a 7. So,
but we're now technically halfway through the Key to Time.
Woo!
I say technically because, you know, there's 3 more episodes, and one of those is 6 episodes long.
Woohoo! Oh.
The next episode, dear. The Blank of Tara.
Androids.
Yes, it's almost like we re-recorded this episode. So you already knew what it was.
Don't worry about it. Do the androids have giant asses at least? Because I want them to have giant asses.
Oh, we're gonna make that joke again.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make that zinger.
Yep.
Yeah, fat asses, just like Nia. No, they don't.
Aww.
Well, some of them do.
Ooh.
Some of them have a little bit of a dumpy, but they're not, you know, that great of a dumpy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the androids of Tara, get ready for a lot of hijinks.
Ooh.
And royalty, monarchies,
eat 'em.
political intrigue,
Kill them.
assassination attempts.
Exactly.
And I can't wait for Deer to try and guess what the fucking piece is, because it's going to be hilarious. Anyway.
Oh, we didn't talk
see
about
you all
that.
Next time.
It's fine. Anyway.
Oh yeah, the fact that you guessed it. Oh
Yeah.
no, that's not in this episode. Whoops.
Oh no.
Yeah, Deer guessed that it was a necklace, kind of like first up. First up, they were like, maybe it's one of the stones, and then was like, wait, hang on, it had to have been on her if she was doing it, so it's probably like her necklace or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. The androids.
But yeah. Yeah, androids. Woo! There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
How many are there? I don't know. We'll find out.
2.
Next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.